Hi, welcome back to Right Click. This week's show will be in Klingon. Nuktak ok puchpa e. Just kidding. You'll remember in the basics section last week we got as far as hitting the power button on your PC. On the show this week, in the basics section, I'll be looking at starting the computer and running programs in Windows. Daniel will be reviewing stylish mice in the Tech Toys section. Advanced Windows this week covers everything you wanted to know about file extensions. We'll also take a look at a game that's set to take the world by storm, Halo. So, let's get nerdy. Look ne. When you press the power button on your PC, the machine goes through a series of self-diagnostic steps and then loads the Windows operating system. Firstly, the BIOS, or Basic Input-Output System, checks your hardware to make sure it's all there and working properly. The BIOS is like a mini operating system built into your motherboard. You can upgrade the BIOS software from the manufacturer's website to enable it to recognise newer and faster components, such as a new CPU. But this is a tricky process, and if you get it wrong, then it's time for a new motherboard. The BIOS is powered by a small battery on the motherboard, and stores information such as the date and time, how much RAM you have, the speed of your CPU, and so on. The BIOS will then display your system specifications, but don't blink or you'll miss it. Once that's done, the BIOS checks to see if there's a floppy disk in your floppy disk drive. If your operating system is corrupted or your hard drive falls over, having a floppy disk can be a lifesaver, allowing you to boot up your computer. So the BIOS always checks for a floppy disk before investigating the hard drive. Now the BIOS is pretty stupid. If you accidentally left a floppy disk in your floppy disk drive that was infected with a virus, your machine could become infected because the BIOS just doesn't know any better. So it's always important to remove floppy disks whenever you shut your computer down. Now after the BIOS has investigated the hard drive and found an operating system to boot up, it hands control over to that operating system. In our case, Windows. Windows then performs its own series of checks to make sure everything's hunky-dory. Welcome to the Windows desktop. Microsoft has tried to make the Windows desktop an approximation of a real-life desktop. It has a recycle bin, a computer, a nice big working area, and so on. The small pictures you see scattered across computer desktops are called icons. They can represent programs, files, and so on, and are the little widgets you interact with using your mouse. The desktop is the face that Windows presents to the world. Any programs you run, files you open, or games you play appear on top of the desktop. Imagine a real-life desktop, looking down on it from above. Sheets of paper sit one on top of the other.
Hi everybody and welcome to Tech Toys. When most people buy a computer, they're often so concerned about the speed of their CPU or how much RAM they have, they often overlook one of the main components they interact with, the mouse. Most people accept the mouse that they're given, Don't be afraid to spend a little bit extra on a decent quality mouse. Believe me, in the long run you won't regret it. Using a cheap and nasty mouse can be highly frustrating, and you'll very quickly end up suffering bouts of what we geeks call rodent rage. With the exception of Microsoft's wheel mouse, personal computer mice haven't changed much at all in the past 30 years. That is, until now. This week we're going to look at 3 of the most popular models on the market. Quite simply, the IntelliMouse Explorer is the smartest rodent to ever cross your desk. What makes the IntelliMouse so different is its optical tracking technology called IntelliEye. Instead of using a standard mouse ball to interpret movement, the IntelliMouse uses an optical sensor, the eye, that takes 1500 pictures a second of the surface the mouse is on. These pictures are then converted into movements of your cursor on the screen. This allows the IntelliMouse to be used on virtually any surface except for glass. I was even able to use it on my shirt and pant leg with much accuracy. This also means you don't need a mouse pad. One of the coolest things about this mouse is its awesome shape and colour scheme. Turn the mouse upside down and you'll find the bottom is entirely clear tinted red plastic that shows the internal components. But as I found out, this mouse gets even more outrageous once you turn it on. The IntelliPoint software allows you to configure every last feature of your mouse. You can allocate functions to the various buttons and even tweak the mouse motion to match the orientation of your hand. Microsoft have released 2 models that use IntelliEye technology. The IntelliMouse Explorer that we have just seen, and the newer, ambidextrous model, the IntelliMouse Optical. All in all, the IntelliEye technology is awesome, and allows for ultimate control. Best of all, the frustration is gone, and you never have to clean a little rodent again.
Let's talk about how we use a mouse with the computer. The left mouse button is used to select or highlight things, or to click on buttons. It's also used to choose options from menus. It's much like being in a restaurant, but without the fake French accents. You simply place the tip of the mouse pointer over the item in question and click the left mouse button once. It's a little bit tricky to get the hang of at first. You need to keep the mouse quite still when you click. Otherwise Windows thinks you're trying to drag the thing you are clicking on, and things get very awkward after that. A more powerful use of the left mouse button is to open items or run programs. You do this by pointing to the item in question and double clicking. That is, 2 quick clicks in succession, keeping the mouse quite still. Once you become a mousing expert, you can try dragging. That is, holding the left or right mouse button down over an icon, say one representing a file, and moving the mouse at the same time. We'll talk about drag and drop later in the series. Now the right mouse button is very useful, and that's one of the reasons we called the show Right Click. When you right click on something, a menu pops up listing all of the possible actions associated with that object. You can then select one of the objects by using one click of the left mouse button. You'll remember the left mouse button is used for selecting things from menus or clicking on buttons. So this is a quick reminder of what all the buttons do. Coming up, this week's website of the week, Dave Central.
Logitech are renowned for well-designed and aesthetically pleasing mice. This is the Logitech cordless Mouseman Plus. As you can see, it's missing a vital part of its anatomy. No cord. And no, this is not another victim of rodent rage. The Mouseman Plus communicates by radio. This is the receiver unit, which can be placed neatly out of sight behind your monitor or speakers. The mouse can transmit on a number of frequencies, reducing the possibility of interference with other household devices. It has a beautifully contoured and ergonomic shape which moulds neatly to your hand. The rubber panels on the side of the mouse make it easy to hold, and in combination with the mouseman's considerable weight, prevent slippage and provide a solid feel. The mouseman comes with a number of configurable buttons, including a thumb button and a wheel. Logitech have provided excellent driver support. The mouse icon in the system tray displays the mouse's current battery level, and the control panel allows you to set up the wheel as a web wheel for easy internet navigation. Overall, the Logitech Mouseman Plus is a beautiful mouse to use. Its weight, combined with the lack of a cord to get in the way, means the mouse glides smoothly over your mousepad and allows for accurate control.
Okay, so we have successfully started the computer. Let's do something with it. The main control area for Windows is activated by clicking here, the Start button. Click it once with your left mouse button and the Start menu will appear. We'll talk about a lot of these menu options in later shows. Let's start a program. I mean, that's what the computer's for, isn't it? Move your mouse to the menu option Programs and a new submenu appears. Slide your mouse sideways onto the new menu. If you miss or move your mouse in the wrong direction, this sort of thing happens. So it takes a bit of practice. The trick is to keep your mouse in the middle of menus when moving up and down, and move it along the blue bar when moving it sideways. From the new submenu, move your mouse over Accessories, and yet another menu appears. From this new menu, click on WordPad. Now you have chosen something from a menu, Windows will run the chosen program for you. WordPad is a free word processing program that comes with Windows, courtesy of Microsoft. So, this is a program. Most Windows programs look very similar, which is great, because once you've learned to use one, learning to use a new program is very easy. Program windows, as they are called, are usually square and have a blue bar at the top called a title bar, giving you the name of the program and sometimes the file you're working on. Here are the menus, File, Edit, View and so on, that give you access to the program's features. This panel of buttons is called a toolbar and gives you one-click access to many of the program's functions found in the menus. Here's the work area, and you can see a cursor blinking, waiting for me to type. For capital letters, I simply hold down the Shift key. To delete something to the left of where the cursor is flashing, I press backspace. I can use the arrow keys to move around my text. To delete something to the right of the cursor, I press the del or delete key. The Enter key takes me down to the next line. If there is text to the right of the cursor, well, that gets moved down too. Almost all Windows programs include these three control buttons in the top right corner. But this one is important. It closes the program you're working on. Now I'm going to close this program because I've finished with it. Clicking the Close button closes the program. I don't care about saving the file, so I'm going to answer no. Phew, that is a lot of information to digest. But don't worry, we'll be going over this again in coming weeks. Now just imagine Windows as being like a school teacher, and your computer as the school. The bigger and more well-equipped the school, the more children it can support and the more fun they can have. Windows oversees the children, or the programs you've installed, as they play or sleep. Now sometimes children can misbehave and stop listening to Windows. Windows then has no choice but to kill them. But this isn't as bad as it sounds, because those children can be resurrected and come back again the next day. Ah, the virtual world. What a place of wonders. So let's look at shutting the computer down. You shouldn't shut the computer down by pressing the power button on the case. This doesn't give Windows a chance to close any of the files that it's working with. Some of your data may be corrupted or the files may be lost. you should always shut your computer down by choosing Shut Down from the Start menu. Click the little radio button next to Shut Down. Then click OK. Your computer will whir away saving data and then either turn itself off, if it's clever, or else tell you it's safe to turn the power off. If your computer ever freezes or misbehaves to the point where you can't shut it down from the Start menu, then, as a last resort, you can use the power button to turn the machine off, or the reset button to force the computer to restart. It's a good idea to leave your computer turned off when you're not using it. It's also a good idea to invest in a surge protector for your wall power socket and also for your modem. Power cuts or lightning strikes can easily damage sensitive components. This week I want to talk about ICQ. ICQ, which stands for I Seek You, is a revolutionary new internet utility that informs you of who's online at any given time and allows you to contact that person directly. No more waiting for replies to emails. With ICQ you can send messages, chat, send files or URLs, play games, or just hang out with your fellow surfers online. Mirabilis, the creators of ICQ, was founded in July 1996 by 4 avid young Israeli computer users in order to introduce a new way of communicating across the internet. They realised that while millions of people were connected to the internet, they weren't connected to each other. What was missing was the technology that would allow internet users to contact each other online and set up person-to-person communication channels. They pioneered the technology, opening a whole new industry. In November 1996, only 4 months after the creation of Mirabilis, the first version of their ICQ product was deployed over the internet. It was enthusiastically received. A chain reaction created one of the largest download rates for a startup company in the history of the internet. ICQ works on the concept of a contact list. You add your friends and relatives, those who are ICQ users, to this contact list. Everyone who uses ICQ is assigned a unique ICQ number, or UIN, and you exchange UINs with people that you know. ICQ users also get to choose their handle or online name. Once installed, ICQ sits quietly in your system tray waiting for you to connect to the internet. Once you connect, ICQ announces your presence to an ICQ server, and people who have you on their contact list will also see that you are now online. Red entries in your ICQ contact list are people who are currently offline. Blue entries are people who are online. The indicators next to a person's name can change depending on whether the person is in Do Not Disturb mode, for example, or away from their computer. From your contact list you can send an instant message to a contact simply by clicking on their nickname and choosing Message. You can also enter a live text-based chat mode with other users, even groups of users, and you can make yourself available for random chats with complete strangers from around the world. Be prepared if you do this, however, as there are quite a few crazies out there. When you have an incoming message, you will hear an uh-oh. Click on the flashing icon to receive the message, and reply if you wish. You can customize ICQ sounds, by the way, even download sound packs from the internet.
Incoming chat request. Incoming file transfer.
Ribbit.
Incoming contact.
These sound themes can include sounds from your favourite TV show, comedy sounds, even Star Trek sounds. ICQ can allow you to publish as much or as little information about yourself online as you choose, and can even display your status on the web, You could, for example, have an icon on your web page that displays your online or offline status. You can even set up a free ICQ homepage and design the page yourself. If you tell ICQ when your birthday is, it will notify all the people on your contact list in advance of the date, giving them time to buy you presents. Now, I'm a bit wary of adding too much personal information to ICQ. It can be used to hack you, i.e. hackers can find out your internet address via your ICQ connection. If you stay away from the seedier areas of the ICQ world, you should be fine, much like real life really. You could set ICQ up so that other people can only add you to their contact lists with your authorization. Be aware that many of the strangers you meet on the net are not who they appear to be. The net offers a lot in the way of anonymity. The latest version of ICQ is 2000A, and it can be downloaded from www.icq.com. ICQ is completely free. It's not shareware, it doesn't cost you anything. And there are about 90 million ICQ users. ICQ is one of the net's true killer apps, an essential part of any surfer's software repertoire. Last week I talked about how to download files from the internet. This week let's look at one of the places you can download files from. Shareware is software that's free for you to use until you decide whether or not you want to pay for it. It either runs with features disabled, such as the saving of files, or else it only runs for a limited period of time, after which you either have to uninstall the program or pay for it. Freeware, on the other hand, is software that's completely free. Dave Central, www.davecentral.com, is one of the largest shareware archives on the net. All of the files are categorized by type and easily searchable. Dave keeps track of the files downloaded from his site, so you can check out his hot list for the most popular applications. Coming up, we review a hot new game title due out early next year.
Okay, let's forget about mice you have to slide around on your desk. This next little vermin is a whole new concept in PCT, pointer control technology.
Do you suffer from RSI or repetitive strain injury? None of the creams and supports seem to do any good? Introducing the revolutionary Logitech trackball from Logitech.
So in the end, don't be stingy when it comes to buying your mouse. Splash out a little and save money on rodent-related rehabilitation.
The advanced Windows topic this week is file associations. Pretty exciting stuff. Now, all Windows files have a 3-letter suffix on the end of the file name that Windows uses to determine which program to use when opening the file. This suffix is separated from the file name by a full stop. So a file called letter.txt has a suffix of txt and is a text file. By default, Windows assumes you are a blundering fool and hides file extensions from you. You can turn the display of file extensions on in a number of ways, depending on the operating system you are using. For example, in Windows 98, you would find any folder in a View menu and choose Folder Options. From the View tab, untick Hide File Extensions for known file types. Now, each file type not only has a suffix associated with it, but also an icon. If Windows doesn't know a particular file type, it will give the file a Windows logo icon. For example, an Adobe Acrobat PDF file has the extension .pdf, but if you don't have Adobe Acrobat installed, Windows will assign a default icon to any PDF files on your system. When you double-click on an unknown file to open it, Windows will prompt you for a program to associate with this sort of file. Suffixes are fairly universal, so you don't normally find a file being opened by the wrong program. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but you might run into a situation where a file is associated with the wrong program, and here's what to do about it. In Windows 98 or earlier, you find any folder and choose View, Folder Options or the equivalent. Then from the File Types tab, find the file that is wrongly associated and click Remove. This removes the identity of the file type, not the actual file itself. Now Windows no longer has any idea what program the file type is associated with. If you double-click on a file of the now anonymous type, Windows will prompt you for an application to associate with this file. An example of suffix confusion occurs with doc or document files. Windows usually comes with WordPad, a free word processor installed, and doc files are associated with this program. If you install WordPad's big brother Microsoft Word, part of the Microsoft Office package, then Microsoft Word will associate itself with doc files. If you now create a file in WordPad and save it, you'll see it has a doc extension, but a Microsoft Word icon. And when you open the file, it opens in Microsoft Word. There may be times when you need to hide files. They might be personal or business related, and you don't want people seeing them when they browse a particular folder. Simply right-click on the file you'd like to hide and tick Hidden. The file won't disappear, however, until you choose Do Not Show Hidden Files option in the View menu under Folder Options. If you really want to protect your files, then you need a utility like PGP, Pretty Good Privacy, which uses RSA encryption. That's the sort of unbroken before the universe ends type of encryption, and you can get a free copy of PGP from www.pgpi.org.
This week I want to look at an up-and-coming game that's going to revolutionise gaming in general. The game is not available yet, but as you'll see from the preview screenshots and movie, it's going to be awesome. Halo is set on an artificial ringworld-style planet, orbiting a gas giant in another solar system, much like the vision of Larry Niven's Ringworld. The setting is part of the mystery of the game, with the creators and builders of this world, and all its wonders, long gone. While exploring the planet, humans have found new technology that they just have to have, even at the cost of their lives. To complicate matters, another alien race is bent on obtaining this technology, and both races must fight to achieve dominance in the system. Still in the early stages of developing the game, Bungie has worked hard to create an atmosphere and environment that realistically portrays otherworldly behaviour. The effect of shadows and the reactive environment happen in real time, and give the gameplay realism that reaches new levels. Furthermore, the environment will be dynamic and will display the debris of fallen units, vehicles and geographical elements. But what makes this title stand out visually even at this early stage is the atmosphere, animation and shadowing. You'll see impressive weather effects such as wind and clouds on a clear blue sky, and lighting, shadowing and reflections that are captured to a lifelike degree, helping you absorb what you're seeing. Gamers will also appreciate the game's multiplayer aspects, especially in co-op play. A crew of 3 can hop into a jeep and continue the fighting independently from one another, One player drives the vehicle while another player operates the Jeep's guns, with the third person firing weapons of his own. A bit of railed gameplay until the on-foot fighting resumes. Halo's gameplay rivals many current shooters' cutscenes in terms of realism and level of depth. Bungie have also worked hard to give game characters control over mannerisms such as waving, taunting, and even surrendering when necessary. Due out in the first half of 2001, Halo will have a simultaneous release for PC and Mac, with multiplayer compatibility between the two operating systems. While you'll need a 3D card and a powerful system to take full advantage of the game's features, it will be scalable, so you'll be able to play the game on a less powerful system. With its compelling storyline, dynamic environment, and alien setting, Halo seems on track to take fans of third-person shooters to new worlds.
Well, we've come to the end of another show. Thanks for joining us. You can check out our website www.digitalis.co.nz/right-click. Ask a question on our online forum or join our mailing list and discuss issues we've raised during the show. Hey, don't forget you can email us rightclick@digitalis.co.nz. Next week on the show we're going to be opening the window on Windows, as well as checking out some hot new digital gadgetry and checking out what's new on the web. See you then.